Thank you very much for logging in today. We are going to be discussing our Special Olympics Illinois Young Athletes program. We're going to review the program as a whole and also offer a couple training tips and feedback, as well as answer any questions that may come up. We are also going to be going over what we have been working on developing as our level 2 of young athletes, which is currently entitled the the Unified Athletes Training Program. So we'll review all of that and also have an opportunity to talk to an educator who is working on starting a pilot for that program with us. So I'm really looking forward to diving into this with you guys. For anybody new, what is Young Athletes? It's an innovative sport play program for children 2 to 7 with and without disabilities. It is unified. The layout is meant to be athletes and peer partners. It's designed to introduce them to the world of sports through motor skill sport play activities like jumping, kicking, striking, balance. There's a multitude of different options that lay out, and it's focused on those motor skills that are needed to be successful in sports. This program is laid out for people, for kids who are prior to the age of 8. So 2 to 7 is usually our target age group for this activity. And this can be implemented in several different ways. So we have family groups that run it. A lot of our programs are schools, elementary schools, for their first and second graders. We also have some preschools that do it. So we'll hear from Austin Hewitt at District 54 in Schaumburg, and he'll discuss how he does it for his early childhood center, the early learning center. And we'll also hear from Tim McDonald from District 97, and his is mostly elementary based. We have some park districts or SRAs that also offer this program for their athletes, and then YMCAs and any other young athlete area of participation can offer it. So why young athletes? Why was this program created? And at its core, it was created to meet the physical and developmental needs of children ages 2 to 7 with and without disabilities. It's also available to offer families the opportunity to share in the success of their future athlete. Provide an appreciation of fitness and sport for the entire family. Through preparation for participation in sports, families see the potential for their child. This is the beginning of the I can, you are able, that Special Olympics is so proud of. Also, it's a way to introduce children to the Special Olympics world, and to introduce the families to the resources available with Special Olympics and Special Olympics Illinois. And it's a great way just to get them involved and to introduce them to the camaraderie that's built through participating in Special Olympics. Some of the goals that are that exist through the Special Olympics program, or the Young Athletes program, excuse me, to engage children with intellectual disabilities through developmentally appropriate play activities, really focused on fostering those physical, cognitive, and social developmental pieces. And as I said, welcome family members of children with intellectual disabilities to the Special Olympics Network. And we do have a lot of teachers that can vouch for this. This network is very strong. Our staff can vouch for it as well. And we've got some great connections that have made and athletes that have thrived through the Young Athletes program into traditional sports and unified sports. It's really a miraculous thing to see, and to see the confidence that's built at such a young age. And finally, it can help raise awareness about the abilities of children with disabilities through inclusive peer participation. Again, that focus on the I can, we can, you can. A lot of times children get diagnosed and the doctors are telling them your child won't, your child can't. And this is an opportunity for parents to see that their child can. Kids can, and they're miraculous, and it's an amazing thing to see. One great thing about the development of this program is when it was developed, all of the Illinois early learning standards were identified. This reaches a miraculous amount of the Illinois early learning standards that are needed in most physical activity classes or early childhood centers. And so as you go through the different lessons that are available or creating your own, you can see that this program does hit so many that are necessary, and it is a huge asset to assist teachers and educators in hitting these landmarks that are needed. So we've got 2 slides worth, and I can share the slideshow with anybody who would like. So please feel free to enter in the chat and say, share the slideshow. I want to get a bigger look at these. But it does exist, and a lot of work was putting into identifying this group of standards that are being achieved through this program. The Young Athletes program, it develops skills for success as a future Special Olympics athlete through the stations that are provided, and the concepts behind each of them. So those foundational skills, walking and running, balance and jumping, trapping and catching, throwing, striking, kicking, and any advanced skills. So moving those children from the basics into more difficult activities, really focusing on the advancement of each of these skills, just like you would for any child in an early childhood physical education class, focusing on bringing them to the next level. A lot of times, families that have been active have noted a lot of improvements through participation in this program. So motor skill development, cognitive skill development, that social and emotional skill of participating with their peers, and being considered equal and being treated as equal is such a huge piece to participation in this. The adaptive skill development and communication skill development. At such a young age, a lot of these things can be so vital and so unbelievably beneficial that it's a great way to jumpstart your program and to get your kids involved at a young age. One of the benefits of participating with Young Athletes as a school or a program, we do offer an agency activity kit, and it does come with a plethora of equipment to help you find success with this program and helping your students reach those goals, those that we discussed. So you can see, looking through, you get the tennis rackets, juggling scarves, balance beam, all the way to a mesh tote bag to store a lot of your equipment, and to activity guides. A lot of this stuff is noted in the activity guides and how to utilize them, and it's all equipment that was put together with Jen Kelso and Palos Sports. They went through everything and what's going to be beneficial and what's the best way that we can help our teachers and our schools find success and supply what they need to find success in this program. So a lot of great equipment, and we do provide that for our new agencies. And any current agency that would like additional equipment kits, they are available, and they're already made on the Palos Sports website. It's also a great ask for an outreach opportunity if you're looking for further equipment for your school. Young Athletes transition. So like I said, the Young Athletes program runs from 2 to 7. And at 8, athletes they qualify to participate in traditional Special Olympics and unified Special Olympics opportunities. So in order to transition, athletes must be classified as having an intellectual disability to participate in the traditional Special Olympics programs. Peer partners can continue on to participate as a volunteer, coach, or a unified partner. And it's important for athletes to continue to increase confidence and physical abilities while participating in sport. So advancing from the Young Athletes program into either our level 2 Unified Athletes Training Program that we discussed, or a competition of some kind, really can enhance that confidence and that social and emotional learning component that we discussed earlier. Also, keeping those peer partners engaged in the unified movement and the inclusive movement can really benefit moving forward, a lot of that social and emotional understanding and that social and emotional health component. So the transition does exist, and it is something that we really try to emphasize with all of our young athlete programs. So through that transition and helping preparing the young athletes for that transition, they can begin training for traditional sports at the age of 6 with any team that they find or with their school. Athletes must have a valid medical application on file, and we do offer 19 different sports across the state. One great thing that we do offer in addition to this is we offer a variety of young athlete skill experiences at some of our state events. So this includes a basketball skills experience at state basketball. We do soccer and athletics at our summer games. We do softball skills and golf skills at our outdoor sports fest, and we do volleyball skills at fall games. And so that experience is for any athlete ages 6 and 7, and they need to have a medical application on file, and they can come out to the state event They get to participate. They get to be a part of the event. They do get a participation ribbon, not a medal, but it's a great opportunity for these students or for these athletes to come out and feel what it's like to be at a state game and really prepare themselves for that level of competition. And it is a great way to transition them from practicing to actual competition and preparing themselves for that experience. And this just goes through all of those activities I just spoke about. The basketball, then at the Summer Games for Athletics, we do the 50-meter run and the tennis ball throw, as well as the soccer skills. So athletes would have to choose. Outdoor Sports Fest, we do the individual softball skills and the golf skills. And again, they would have to choose. And for fall games, we offer volleyball skills. Again, if you want these resources, we've got all of this available to you. They are all links, so I can send you this PowerPoint if you'd like. I'm more than happy to share that with you. The Special Olympics International information page has a ton of videos and content that's available, and that's why I added that on there, because those videos can be very beneficial right now. Then the Young Athletes Activity Guide for Special Olympics Illinois. We have one specific for Illinois, and then there's the one that's international based. A lot of our activities come from the international base, but it's focused on the equipment that we provide our programs. And so it's really narrowed down, but also gives a little bit more room for creativity. And then we have our transition guide that's available for Special Olympics Illinois athletes to help prepare them for that transition into competition and our skills opportunities. So just to kind of discuss what it looks like at some different schools, if I could have Austin, my buddy, talk about Schaumburg District 54 and what their young athletes experience is like.
All right. Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. So our young athletes for District 54, especially with our preschoolers in the ELC, we have, I think it's around 600 kids, so a ton of kids coming through. So what we did is every week, so we would have one day a week that would be devoted to the Young Athletes program. So our day was Thursday, and since we had so many kids coming through, I would see kids every other week. So I would see group 1 on Thursday, the next Thursday would be group 2. That way I would be able to see every kid and get through our sessions together. One of the most important things for working with preschoolers is to have your setup really like ready to go. So we kind of did like a mini culminating event. I had 3 different stations that would be set up. And depending what we were working on that week, it would look like an obstacle course at part of the gym. And if we were doing throwing, say like throwing beanbags through hoops, it'd be another station. And then station number 3 would kind of be like an egg toss. And having those stations labeled and ready to go when those first kids come in was a huge benefit that worked out, just so the kids aren't running around. We also had some spots lined up on the outside of the gym for our kiddos to stand on, which was great. And also keeping the teachers, the paraprofessionals, and assistant principals and principals in the loop. We made a Google Doc letting everybody know what we were working on that week as far as what activity, throwing, catching, running, jumping. And also in that was instructions on how each station would work, the setups, what we're trying to accomplish with each station, whether it be coming alongside and having to help some kiddos, or like to jump with both feet, using your arms, that kind of deal. And we'd also post a take home for kids to bring to their parents that told them about our program and about the culminating event at the end of the year, which was awesome to hear feedback. And that just made things easier come around that point of year when parents and teachers are asking about the culminating event. So yeah, are there any questions as far as like the setup that goes along with it, or how, you know, anything that would make things easier, I guess?
Austin, Kelly, and Michelle, if you guys want to chat a little bit about the layout of your culminating event, because it is a little bit different than how some of the other programs do it.
Okay, yeah. Our culminating event, we have about, it was 10 stations. And basically we'll have, since we have so many kids, we have each group started a different station. And we have a big speaker that's been playing music. So about every station, you get about 5 to 10 minutes on to complete said station. And then once the music stops, your group would then go along to the next station until you hit all 10. So you get your running, your jumping, your striking in, your balance bikes. And then we had an award station as well, which was really fun. And that's what we did in the preschool as well. I would have a speaker and you would tell the kids like, hey, once you hear the music, it's time to have fun and participate in that activity. Once you hear it stop, that's our cue to kind of clean up and then move to the next station, which really works great. Like the kids love if you put on some Kids Bop and just start jamming and having fun. Like the kids love it, the teachers love it, and it just keeps everybody involved, which was nice.
I just want to add, we also push into PE classes of our elementary schools that all have self-contained programs. So we see all of the kindergarten, first and second graders that are in a self-contained program across our district as well. Austin and I have a very unique position in District 54 in that our entire lives revolve around Special Olympics, Unified Champion Schools, and young athletes. So we are very lucky that we are able to do everything that we do. But that being said, that adds another about 250 kids total to our culminating event. So between the ELC and the elementary school kids who are there as a field trip, we do have between 400 and 500 kids at our young athletes culminating event. So we do rent out the local Schaumburg Sports Center. And so we have 2 giant soccer fields worth of space indoors to work with. This year we were also planning on adding 4 basketball courts so that we could really kind of spread out, because we were anticipating having more kids at our event that unfortunately we won't be able to have, but going into next year the plan is the same.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. The next person speaking is Tim McDonald from Oak Park District 97. Tim, if you want to jump on and start talking a little bit about how you lay out your young athletes program and culminating event.
Yeah. So good morning, everyone. I won't repeat a lot. Austin, Kelly, you guys have some great stuff going, so I won't repeat some of the stuff. It's similar. But just wanted to give a shout out to Jen, Jillian, Michelle. Anytime we have a question, they just call them. They call right back, and they'll get. I call them all the time. Jen blocks me sometimes, and it's okay. But they're very helpful, and they will come to your events, any extra events you have, to prepare for your culminating event, just to check it out. So they're super helpful. Just wanted to let you know. And then also, Austin, I'm speaking for both of us. We come and check our events out if you want to come check our classes out. For all the new people, anytime you want to just see what it's like. Because I remember when I first started, I was like, oh, I picture it. But after I went to my first culminating event, I was like, oh, I mean, you kind of know what it is, but it's cool to see one in advance before you do it. So give Austin or me a call, and you can, of course, check us out. My program's similar to Austin's, where I teach every other week about for the young ones, early childhood to preschool. And my advice is, there's always like the teachers. There's some great teachers that I work with, and sure, Austin, you all work with too. But there's those leaders, those gen ed teacher leaders and special ed teacher leaders. So find those. They're my buddies. And so when I'm not there, they're leading. So if I'm there once every 2 to 3 weeks, I do my class, and everyone's great when I'm there because I'm making sure it's good. And then there's 1 or 2 weeks I'm not there, and I'm super confident in my teacher leaders that they are always in contact with me. And I know that they're following exactly what I do for our one. So for example, if I'm there doing basketball skills, and I know very confident that in the next week or 2 that they're doing basketball skills, what we're working on, because they're always reaching out to me about it. And then after I teach my next soccer or whatever, I'm very confident they continue what I'm doing. So find those teacher leaders at your schools, because not every teacher is a leader, as we all know. Some work with some great people, but there's leaders and some people who don't really take charge. So find those leaders at your schools. Besides that, we also have the K1-2 also, like Austin and Kelly. And what's great about us is we have the gen ed, there's so many now that we've been doing this many years, there's so many gen ed teachers that want to get involved, and we just can't get everyone involved. I'm at 8 schools. And so at first I chose my buddies, my leaders that I knew would do well. And so now we kind of rotate those gen ed teachers in. So at one school, my Holmes Elementary School, for example, we have a rotation with the gen ed kindergarten teachers. So 2 or 3 gen ed kindergartens come one year, and then the following year it's the other kindergarten. So we rotate. So they're always involved, but we can't have 8 schools just with our space and things. Besides that, we do that all school year. I'm the adaptive PE teacher, so I'm teaching during the school year. This is like a bonus for what we do too. So during the school we teach, and we have our culminating event in May. Austin, I believe it's the same day as yours, right? Isn't it May 18th or something? Thumbs up, Austin. Is yours May 18th? I'm gonna say it's May 18th. So ours is
like May 15th.
They usually fall around the same time because I
Yeah.
know that the Region C staff and the Region B staff are both usually pretty quick on booking the equipment to see what split.
Yeah, it's so and just with the equipment, if you haven't started or just getting started, Special Olympics is great, giving you tons of equipment to start. I remember when I first got it, it was like too much equipment. It was great. So store what you don't use, and you're eventually going to use it all, because we use everything. We rotate everything in. But some things have broken, and Jillian, they're fantastic. Just contact them. I mean, they're not going to give you a whole nother thing of equipment, but if some little things break, they'll give you new ones, and they're really supportive. So very similar to Austin's experience, and Kelly's very, very, very happy with young athletes. It's one of my favorite parts of my adaptive PE position. Families love it. We invite everyone to our practices if they want to come. The culminating event, we have tons of families come. So we don't exclude, just don't hide anything, got nothing to hide, just invite everyone over. The parents that come, always positive. So any questions? Anything else, Jillian, about young athletes you want me to go over?
No, that was awesome. Thank you so much, Tim and Austin. I'm wondering if any of the staff I've got a couple staff on the call from Special Olympics Illinois. Do you guys have anything you want to add in to give some of our newer people interested in the young athletes program? Is there anything you guys want to touch on that maybe Austin and Tim and myself haven't touched on yet?
I'll talk. Hi, I'm Bailey. I'm the Region G director. I was actually on staff with the Young Athletes program there for a little bit before I switched over to the region. Something that Unit 5 school district does, specifically in one of the schools, Parkside, is that they have 5th grade coaches. So not only do they have the young athletes and the peer partners who are participating together through the Young Athletes program, but then they bring in 5th graders to help coach throughout the year, and then they're part of that culminating experience. And something that was unique for Unit 5 was that we were able to develop a relationship with a local high school. So the district includes, I believe now, 5 schools. And originally we were doing all separate culminating events for each of those schools. Now that high school in town actually, all of their senior class are the volunteers, and all 5 schools come to the culminating event for a morning and afternoon culminating event. So it's a really unique and cool environment for all of those athletes to come together and celebrate what they've learned through the program. That's all I have to say.
Awesome. Thank you, Bailey, for sharing that. I love to share what goes on in Unit 5. Kathleen O'Connell, unfortunately, is the adaptive PE teacher at Parkside Elementary, and she couldn't make it today, but I was hoping she could chat about her coaches. So thank you, Bailey, for chiming in with that. We really appreciate it. Are there any other staff that have anything they want to add that's specific to their region? Okay, awesome. Before we dive into the level 2 information, I do want to say that we do have a Young Athletes Facebook page, a Special Olympics Illinois Young Athletes Facebook page, and we've been working really hard at engaging our young athletes while we're all staying at home. We know that this program is mostly run through schools, and it's not always an easy task to engage these little ones when they're not in front of you. And so we've had a couple of our staff and a couple of our friends create videos of young athlete activities that we've been able to post on that page. Our marketing team has also been putting together these wonderful celebrity-read story times that we've been able to share on that page and the Special Olympics Illinois page, while also having our regular content like the dance parties that everyone loves so much and everything. I do want to take this opportunity while we have you all on this call. If you have any ideas of anything else we can do to help, we would love to hear them. We're always looking for ways that we can engage little ones and families of little ones, especially during this unprecedented time. So please feel free to add those to the chat or just dive in and let me know now. I'm going to give everybody just a second if anybody wants to chime in on what more we can do.
Hey, Jillian.
Yeah.
This is Vanessa. And so, you know, oftentimes with little ones, really their screen time is limited. And especially with at-home learning, we're putting screens in front of them more. So, you know, like, I know a lot of kids don't maybe even do social media, but one of the things that I thought was really awesome about Reagan's gymnastics team is that the coach asked each family to get together and do a workout for their gymnastic team, you know, a workout video that they would post on their site. So, and maybe it'd be different for young athletes, but since the weather is getting nicer, maybe some of those parents and families who are really involved would maybe set up some sort of yard obstacle, kind of like Steve's daughter did. Steve Whitlatch's daughter did a really great, like, indoor video even of different types of skills and you know, foundational, you know, jumps or, you know, kicking, just certain things that young athletes do. And, you know, Steve could maybe even share that as an example, but inviting families to share videos of young athlete skills that they've been working on at home or out in the yard, and then submitting them to, you know, either be edited or compiled together or daily or weekly something on Facebook might be a way to engage families a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Vanessa, for that idea. I have tried to engage a couple of our families, and actually Tim did create a video for me. And a couple of our SO families have created videos for me as well that I've been able to post on the Young Athletes page with different activities that you can do from home. I know Brendan and his daughter did a soccer one where they demonstrated like how to make a goal out of a broomstick and 2 stools, and then she was kicking soccer and practicing soccer and some things.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah. That,
you need to get on the Young Athletes page more, I think, then.
Yeah. And I do ask when I post those, I do ask for what are you doing at home? Send us your videos. But I think I could probably do a better job of being like, hey, young athlete families, we're running out of videos to share. Why don't you, send me your videos? And I could probably do a better job of promoting that. So thank you. Thank you for that.
Julian, this
yes.
is Tim. What helped is when you reached out to me specifically and said, hey, can you get me a video, you or your families? Then I was like, oh, okay. I was going to reach out to my families, and I was like, oh, I'll just do one. So I don't know. It helped that like you put it on me specifically. That says like, hey, or I don't know if you don't have to reach out to everyone. Just be like, hey, if some people like Austin's been doing it a while, like I don't know what they've done, but just people just say, hey, can your district do one video or whatever, Because then when I put it on me, I was like, oh, I'm going to do this video,
Absolutely. No, that's a great idea too. Thank you for that. Thank you guys for that feedback. Any other ideas of ways we can further engage the little ones? And Vanessa, I agree with you. Screen time is definitely typically lower with the little ones. Awesome. If you guys think of anything else, or if anybody else wants to chime in, please feel free. Or if you think of something while we're going through the level 2 Unified Athletes Training Program, by all means, just put it in the chat and we'll make sure to keep the chat for my records. Awesome. All right. Unified Athletes Training Program. This has been about almost a year in the making. It's been in discussions for quite some time, and it's going to the idea is that it would act as a level 2 young athletes program. So students would go from young athletes as they turn, 6, 7, 8, however the district decides or the school decides, they'll move into the Unified Athletes Training Program. It's promoted for ages 6 to 12 for the concept of some 6-year-olds are very athletically advanced and some are not. And they need that young athlete's time to practice, and some really are ready to get into more sports specific skills. So it's ideal for 8 to 12, but we do allow that leniency for various districts and different classroom ages, things like that. And it consists of 6 unified sport activities. So soccer, basketball, volleyball, bocce, track, and field. We did separate track and field in an effort to engage students in a variety of field events. All of these sports are offered in a unified basis through Special Olympics Illinois. So that was another focal point for us in a way to engage these students to prepare for competition in a realistic world of where will they compete. The purpose, again, is to be used as a transition for young athletes and peer partners to become athletes and unified partners, to really engage that 3 through 5th grade that kind of is lacking. There's not a lot of unified opportunities. And really, sometimes that 8-year-old is not ready for competition. So we wanted to find a way where there was a gap in programming to engage and further engage students, and also offer that sport opportunity for some schools. The benefits of this program is it's free to cost for schools and agencies to run. The possibility of participating agencies to receive free equipment. Once again, there is an equipment kit associated with this program that is sent out to schools, and Tim can discuss that a little bit further in the experience of receiving those kits. The curriculum developed is to assist coaches in running this program, but it also slides right in with a PE curriculum. Having taught PE briefly, I know a lot of these sports are in there. Bocce is not at all schools, but it is a great social and emotional, it's a social sport, and it's also just a great learning opportunity. Other than that, all of the sports are in a curriculum. Most of the sports do slide in straight to an elementary school PE curriculum to make it really easy to maneuver this training program. My last point has gone away. It's set up to offer training and learning opportunities for both athletes and unified partners. The concept, every activity, every lesson has a challenge associated with it that is a unified basis. So you are challenged as a unified group to achieve this goal before you can move to your next station, or before you can leave class today, or however the teacher lays it out. So it really is focused on participating in a unified manner while learning and practicing the skills to find success in these activities. It was created, I'm losing my spot, to fill that gap of programming offered to peer partners and athletes, ages 8 to 12 within schools, sports-specific training opportunities for athletes and unified partners alike. What happens, and what we've seen happen, is that those 8-year-olds that are ready for competition or want to start competing can go join a team, and sometimes the unified partners are left at school and they don't know how to engage outside of being a volunteer or a coach. And at that 8-year-old age, how does an 8-year-old coach another 8-year-old? You know, it's not always ideal for parents, whereas this is an opportunity for them to those unified partners to stay engaged and to continue learning about what it means to be a unified partner. It prepares athletes and unified partners for traditional and/or unified competition. So while a lot of unified competitions like basketball and soccer and track and field are not an option for unified partners until middle school, there is the option for bocce, potentially volleyball, but also they can help and assist in the basketball skills for their traditional athlete peers. They can train with them, with their traditional athletes, for skills, and then cheer them on at events. Also the concept to ease the transition for athletes and unified partners advancing to middle school competitive teams. The idea behind some of this is that when they get to middle school, they're going to have a better foundation of their basketball skills and their volleyball skills and their soccer skills. So when they start to compete, it's a better level of competition at that middle school level. The Unified Athletes Program equipment, I sat down with Jessica from Palo Sports and we went through all of the activities, the skills that were laid out, and discussed what would be ideal. There are some skills, it's not as comprehensive as the Young Athletes equipment kit, but it does have something that will assist in every single skill needed. The concept here was that a lot of our unified athlete training programs will also have the Young Athletes equipment. And a lot of them will also be run through PE departments. So some of it was, the thought was, and working with the committee, some of this equipment they will already have. And a lot of it that we put on this list was stuff that they may not have, or that will bolster what they currently have to make the running of these activities easier for them. So you can see we put in some training shot puts and some softballs, because one of the field activities is shot put, but the concept with the committee was, let's start unweighted. So we're not focusing on softball throw here. We're focusing on shot put and the shot put movement, but training to do it properly to avoid injury, and starting unweighted and then with a very low weight. So Palo Sports has provided us with some training shot puts. And you can kind of look through this. We've got some really great things in here, including, you know, the floor marking tape and a soccer bag as opposed to a mesh bag to make transition of equipment a little bit easier. And then we've been working really hard on this, and there's a lot of questions that have gone so far unanswered. So I would love the opportunity to answer those questions. But first, Tim McDonald did sit with me on the committee of planning this, along with Austin, and I know Bailey's on the call, and Jackie Flex, and a couple other people that I'm sure I'm missing. But Tim also volunteered to have 2 pilot programs run in his district for this school year, for this semester. And unfortunately, with COVID-19, we've had to cancel and delay that pilot until next year. But Tim, I would love for you to be able to chat a little bit about what your plans were and how you were planning on implementing for this semester.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say again, Special Olympics wants you to start these programs. They want to help you out. So it's unbelievable the new equipment that they gave us just for this specific level 2. Just like what I said with young athletes. One of the biggest barriers to enter these different sports and different programs is equipment. You know, that's probably our biggest one. And so they made it super easy on us to do. So super great with the equipment. So before I go into it real quick, just wanted to let you know how our district started years ago. I don't know, 8 years ago or something like that. We started out with older. So we started out with bocce ball for our middle schoolers, our 6, 7, 8. And we did a couple other sports, basketball, soccer for our middle school. And then we went back to the younger ones with young athletes. And so like Jillian was saying, we have these great programs going, but there's that in between that's missing. And if anyone who's talked to parents, they're always wanting to continue what you have. The young athletes want to continue sports. Why is it missing? And so this is the key to putting everything together from young athletes. So from the youngest one I see is 3 years old all the way to 8th grade. So they completes the middle too. So this is fantastic. And I love that the young athletes, it's not the exact same as this level 2. Level 2 kind of picks it up a little bit. So for level 2, for example, we do, with my young athletes, I do practice volleyball skills and things like that, but I don't have specific stations that I do consistently. And so level 2, it beefs it up a little bit, which you expect. So it has the volleyball skills, track and field from young athletes. They beef it up. There's javelin and shot put. I was looking forward so much to my students doing the javelin. It was going to be very fun. And so it beefs it up. It keeps it fresh. The students, they're not doing these like more elementary, younger games and skills. They're doing these fun games. I don't know if you've ever thrown a javelin in PE class. I have. And the kids love it. Oh my gosh. Someone hits the ceiling by accident, they just go nuts. So it's really fun. If you ever played bocce ball too, we play with our younger ones in middle school. They love that game. Play it in PE class if you can. So the plan was to start out basic. We were going to do about an 8-week program. And so there's 6 different sports that Jillian already mentioned. So we're going to do about a week or so of each. And like I said before, find those teacher leaders, because I wasn't going to be teaching every single week. And so I have some really good special ed buddies at the schools I was doing it at, and the PE teachers I'm really close with. So they were going to take the lead when I wasn't there. But I have our numbers. It's approximately, we have 8 students with disabilities. And I was talking to Jillian, and if you've ever done events, you don't want to have, like, for every 1 student with disability, you don't want to have like 8 students without disabilities in their group. So we've worked it out. So we have about 3 or 4 students without disabilities in the group with the student with the disabilities. We find that we do that with young athletes. We try to as much as possible. It's more fun that way. Plus the bonding, like Jillian was saying, they have these tasks to complete. Before they can finish the day, they have to do these things with their partners, kind of just like a teamwork bonding thing. So that's how we did the groupings. And so we had planned on doing it in April. Obviously, we're missing a lot of events, the state games, all this stuff. This is one of them. So we'll do it again next year. But if you've done young athletes, this is similar. This is where you run it. I was planning on running this very similar to young athletes, where we had our lead up to our culminating event. And Jillian, what do we call it? We call it something else. The culminating. It's called something else. It's
We
similar.
called it a showcase.
Showcase. That was it. Showcase. So then we have a showcase. Our culminating event, we invite parents, and it's really, really big. We were going to do the same thing on a smaller level, where we have parents come to the gym instead of this giant field that we do for young athletes. So we're going to do it 2 weeks after my young athletes event. I was going to do everything building up to young athletes, and this went alongside of it, of course. But then it was going to be 2 weeks later to give us a little leeway to setting up and things. But that was the plan, and running it similar to a young athletes event. The parents, if you've ever done a young athletes culminating event, parents eat that stuff up. They love it. They love walking around with their students. So we're expecting the same thing for this, where they just love it. And then the big thing is to not just do the event, but to show them, here are the forms, here's the next step, here's the sports we have in our district. So for us, for all these sports, there's 6 of them, Jillian said, for this level 2 in between. We have, of all those sports, the ones that we have that actually go to the middle school are soccer, basketball, and track. We used to do bocce, but we don't. So we have 3 of the sports from level 2 that students who participate in level 2 have the opportunity to go and play at the middle school. So that was kind of the key. We wanted like a stepping stone to the middle school. And so that's level 2 in a nutshell. It's basically a stepping stone that wasn't there. It was definitely a huge void that Jillian and the crew helped fill. So we were looking forward to it, and we're going to do it next year. Any questions about level 2, our plans? Don't be scared to do it, especially if you do young athletes already. It's very similar, the setup. So it's not as scary once you've done young athletes. So any other questions, or Jillian, you want me to go over anything else?
I actually, I missed a point that I want to make sure is mentioned, just for benefit. The skills identified for basketball, soccer, and volleyball are all the skills that are currently active in our skills competition. So unified athletes can transition into a traditional team and participate straight in, and they've been practicing the basketball skills, the soccer skills, and the volleyball skills necessary to compete in a skills competition. So that is one piece that I did not mention. When developing the curriculum, that was the first resource we went to, was the actual skills competition, and utilizing those to benefit our program here and to bolster the skills necessary to compete in Special Olympics Illinois. Secondly, I do want to say, Tim, you're awesome, and I appreciate everything that you've done.
Jake's an awesome person to know one.
Not just to speak on behalf of Kathleen O'Connell, who is also awesome, and her gen ed teacher, his name escapes me at this moment, are running this. They're also running a pilot for us, and they are doing it a little bit differently, whereas the gen ed teacher is focusing on the challenges. So he'll run his regular unit, and then he'll focus on the challenges portion of each of the lessons, and make that a really unified experience. And his showcases, from my understanding, they were planning on doing 2. So whatever spring sports and whatever winter sports, they were going to focus on just those 3 in their showcases, and it would be a challenge day. And so it wouldn't be as big of a deal. It wouldn't be as large as a culminating event, a little bit more downplayed, but more of a show us what you can do, and show us that you can play unified. And so that was just another take on the Unified Athletes Training Program, just to be able to share with you guys that this also, much like Young Athletes, is totally adaptable to any program across the state. Oh, thank you, Bailey. Tom, I'm not gonna be able to pronounce that. Tom Triesenberg is the name of the gen ed PE teacher, who is also very, very awesome and excited about this opportunity. So thank you, Tim, and thank you, Kath and Tom, who unfortunately couldn't make it today. Are there any other questions that I can answer about the level 2 Unified Athletes Training Program curriculum or layout? Awesome. If any questions come up, please do not hesitate to ask. I am more than happy to send out the curriculum, everything. One thing that I did go ahead and do on each of the lessons, I tried to make them as what I would call sub-ready as possible. So if for some reason Tim can't make it to his class and he needs to do this, like he had planned on doing this lesson, the sub can take it and run with it and be able to assist in running this program. It also contains the physical education learning standards that the lesson hits. So if for some reason, I know when I taught very briefly, I had to provide lesson plans for every single lesson, and it had to include the state standards and all of those wonderful things. And so that's already on there to benefit any teacher that's utilizing this for their portfolio or anything like that. We're working on upping some of the resources available. I know Tim assisted in helping me make a letter home that can be sent to introduce the program to families. That is, I've put in the curriculum Google Drive, I've put that in there, and it's totally editable for any school or program to jump in and utilize. We are looking for more schools to pilot. Right now we've got 3 that have confirmed. Tim is doing 2 and Kath is doing 1. And so if you're interested, if you've got a school that's ready to jump on board and work with us, we are looking forward to that for the next school year. Furthermore, the goal of this is not to have the large culminating event and to add extra work to anybody. We really just want to focus on that unified component and creating a team atmosphere. And so creating that showcase to be whatever it is you want it to be is something that we're willing to do. And that was a big piece that the committee discussed when we got together and when I met with different people, was it doesn't need to be that big because the ultimate goal is attending competition. So we're really excited about this, and we're really looking forward to seeing it move and be piloted. Unfortunately, I was really looking forward to those showcases this year, and unfortunately we're gonna wait a couple more months, but that's okay. Last opportunity for any questions about young athletes, culminating events, Unified Athletes Training Program Level 2, showcases, anything like that. Awesome. Thank you all for jumping on today. I really appreciate your help. Tim and Austin and Kelly and Bailey, thank you guys for assisting and adding some very valuable content to our call today. If you have any questions, you can email me. My name is Jillian Hostany with Special Olympics Illinois, or you can go directly to the Young Athletes email that gets forwarded straight over to me as well. So again, if as staff or even as current teachers, if you are interested in young athletes or have any questions about the Unified Athletes Training Program and you know somebody that would want to pilot, let me know. Let's get some communication started so we can start sharing some of those details. If you would like to receive this PowerPoint or the Unified Athletes Training Program curriculum, please also let me know and I can share that with you right away, actually. We have recorded this and we'll be putting it up on YouTube to share that link as well. So thank you guys for joining us today, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Stay healthy, stay safe.
Jillian, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. No
You did
problem.
great. You did great.
Thank you. Thank you very much.